Hey everyone, Pesmore here, and welcome to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. You follow Miss Steelwind's directions and find Miriam Frega's dorm room. The door leading inside seems a lot more ornately decorated than the other dorms. You go to knock on the door, but you don't realize it's only partially closed. As your fist comes into contact with the wood, you accidentally push the door wide open. Why'd you leave your door half open? Dumbass. How'd you even get in this? Oh yeah, you cheated. Excuse me, how dare you barge into my room? These insects have no respect, and you have no common sense. Why'd you leave a door half open, if you don't want anyone to come in? Dumbass. Sorry, I meant to knock, but... Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room. Compliance. From the corner of the room, an arcane construct stands up and starts making its way towards you. Before you can protest, it raises its fist to hit you. Whoa! You only have enough time to raise your arms and brace yourself for the impact. Holy Damn! That's awesome. She's doing her job. Nice. You close your eyes and wait for the blow. But instead, you hear the clang of steel against steel. Damn. Confused, you open your eyes and see Celeste standing between you and the construct. I'm impressed. Really, I am. Her sword is drawn and she's using it to block the construct's fist. Ha! What you gonna do now, huh? Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the student stares curiously at her. Construct, stand down. Oh, yeah. What the... Wait. What? Compliance. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this was your servant. She ain't taking that. Celeste looks angry but puts away her sword without a word. I haven't noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? If she has a personal attendant, she must be important. God, I mean, Tyrion is kind of a pussy, What? So it's understandable that they see Celeste as, the awesome one, the main character, and Tyrion as the little bitch, which he is. You see an opportunity. Yes, my master just enrolled here recently. What? Celeste gives you a puzzled look, but you make a silent gesture back. After a moment, she seems to realize what you're doing. Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frega? Yes, I'm honored that you recognize me. I mean, okay. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Miss... you're pretty mid. I'm Celeste. Celeste She catches herself and pauses for an awkward moment. Steelwind! I'm Celeste Steelwind. You can't believe her. There's no way she's going to... Steelwind? If she believes it. It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. She must be from a branch family. Maybe I can use her. Only smart people can use other people, And you aren't smart. Wait, She's actually buying this? I just moved in, and I thought that I should introduce myself. Seeing as you're a top student in the field of conjugation. Conjuration. Yes. Well, there's no backing out now. You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they only had them in the library and locker room. This construct was a gift from House Von Sanctus. That's how you say it, right? Oh, she's 17. She's a second year. Okay. I have to say, they're quite convenient to have around. They look real cool. Maybe I should get one. You should. A construct would be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Smile and wave, Steelwind. Smile and wave. It's such a shame what happened to the professor. Can't tell whether that's a different portrait or something. I don't know. I don't pay attention to her. She's mid. She truly was the best and brightest among the faculty. Why are you complimenting her? Well, she certainly was something. I hope Arya returns my rapier soon. It must be pretty important to you. It's an ancient family heirloom, owned by one of the first heroes of Wyvernguard. And you brought it to school? Why? Why would you do that? Oh yeah, she's dumb, I forgot. My father will throw a fit if he finds out it was stolen. The Freygas primarily control Wyvernguard's finances, right? But of course, the Freygas own nearly every banking house in the kingdom. One could even say that we alone are responsible for Wyvernguard's prosperity. That's very debatable. How about sharing that prosperity with the common folk? Your attendant doesn't appear to actually do much. How do you put up with him? Oh, you know how it is. You're a little touched by how angry she's getting on your behalf. That's because she's best girl. I don't care what anyone says. I will fight off an entire army. I'm willing to lose. You know? But I stand by that statement, okay? I wasn't aware another Steelwind had enrolled at the academy. Which branch family were you from again? It's one of the far-off branches. You know, funny thing is, she could potentially be from Steelwind, because we don't exactly know who her biological parents are. So there's a little small chance that she could be a Steelwind. We're not that well known. I see. Honestly, I don't know what Arya is thinking. At this rate, it won't matter which house she belongs to. She'll be ruined. Are you actually concerned about her? What? Of course not. By the way, do you happen to know Ares Illmater? Oh. I would stay away from her if I were you. Oh, believe me, I really want to stay away from her. I heard some unsavory things have happened to people that cross her. It's no wonder she joined forces with that necromancer. I can't believe it took so long for that necromancer to be detained. All it took was a literal murder. The trial isn't over yet. He's innocent till proven guilty. Oh, of course you would say that. You commoners can't help but sympathize with each other. Do not talk to him like that. Thank you, best girl. Thank you very much. What? Scared? Sorry. Just tone it down, okay? Of course. With the professor gone, the headmaster is just going to bring more of those street urchins into the academy. Is that really bad though? Every mage should have the right to develop their powers. Don't tell me that Arya got to you. You have such a punchable face. Mages are chosen by the Scale Lord through divine right. So that means that mages, even though they're poor, have a divine right. Okay. Enough racism. Segregation. Economic segregation. Magic is something that should only be held by the nobility. You were a nobility by chance. If you were poor, you would not survive, you dumbass. Those bastard children have no right to call themselves mages. Right. Oh man, she's sad and angry. I understand. You feel a twinge of regret for putting Celeste in this situation. Miss Freyga, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions about... Excuse me, I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak. Oh, here we go. Celeste is still smiling, but you can faintly hear her grinding her teeth together. So, we heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. I can't believe it. Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. She has always been an acquaintance of House Freyga. She appears to be more receptive to Celeste. It might be better to let her take the lead on the questioning. We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder. Could you tell us more about what happened? Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? She's not like Arya, is she? If you don't mind me asking, why are you so interested? Oh, you know. Curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes. Being a noble and all. Alright, tone it down. Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going down the same path as that poor, confused Arya. I mean, she's not poor. And she's not confused. You know? Definitely not poor. Wait a minute. Judging... She might be poor now. Maybe, yeah. What does she mean by that? But I'm in the middle of a study break anyways. I suppose I have some time to sate your curiosity. She could be useful if I can win her favor. You already did not. Let me just say, based on what you said, you're in the opposite. You're on the kill list. You're on the naughty list. Santa ain't gonna give you presents. Construct, please prepare us some tea. Use that lotus tea we imported from the Eastern Kingdom's compliance. Lotus tea? You have lotus juice? You feel like you're losing control of the situation. I heard that you saw the professor on the day of the murder. Where did this happen? I was in the hallways when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She was heading towards the library. Do you remember what happened this time? I'm not sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. Sometimes I'll let hours pass without noticing. Do you have a rough idea at least? I think it was in the morning. She thinks it was in the morning? But anyways, did anything seem about her? No, it was a short encounter. I merely greeted her and she responded in kind. Or at least that should have happened. What does that mean? You slowly glance at Celeste and catch her attention. In small motions, you shake her head to indicate that Miriam is holding something back. Were you and the professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean towards the other students. Towards the poor people maybe, but not to students like us. She was a great ally to House Freyga. Or at least, she used to be. That's why we were planning on appointing her as the new headmaster. Wait, what did you just say? Did you just say your family was going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster? Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Freyga holds several seats on the Academy's board. We were making plans to have her replace that lout, Redmond. They were going to sack the headmaster? Did Headmaster Redmond know about this? Oh, of course not. This was part of a large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we were going to replace all the staff with arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left prematurely. And where would that leave us? But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the constructs. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan? Or was Jan lying about how he found out? But alas, with Bellwether gone, we'll have to delay our plans. So, we heard that Arya took your rapier as evidence for the case. Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. My father will have my head if I can't get it back soon. How did it even become a part of the investigation anyway? I don't know. Arya won't tell me anything. I swear, if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself. So, someone did steal it from you? Yes, from right out of my room. When did this happen? About a few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes, someone removed the rapier from the display case in my room. How did it get in your room in the first place? Do you think someone used magic to teleport past the door? Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunted them out. This means the thief came through one of the doors or windows. I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure a street kid like him just knows how to pick a lock. Ha, saw that. I heard you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Of course, as the inheritor of the House Freyga, my grades are impeccable. It feels good to have my greatness recognized. Strange, you don't see anything contradictory through the eye this time. You make a gesture towards Celeste to continue pressing her. Oh, what kind of magic do you study here? You must be joking. I study magic from the School of Conjuration. Just like most members of my house. The School of Conjuration. That's the type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation and teleportation, right? Yes, I consider myself quite the expert in that field. Why the Crown Prince himself has asked for my assistance in a research study. It's nice to work with someone of my caliber. Again, no contradiction. Does that mean she's not lying? Nah, that means she's just up her own ass. You know? If she's smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention, why would she be cheating? He said something about my wayward relative before. Were you talking about Arya? Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. But I'm sure it must pain you to see the way she's been acting lately. Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste. Did you know she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A Steelwind running around a crime scene like a common knight. Why, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. Does the nobility not approve of Steelwind becoming a prosecutor? I always thought it was strange. What is her motivation? Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything because of her betrothed. Oh! Aster deserves better. Who's Aster? Oh, dang! What happened to him? Celeste's eyes perk up upon hearing this. You'd be lying if you weren't also curious about who this Aster is. But you shoot her a stern look that tells her to stay focused. You can't risk blowing your cover for some gossip. You have an arcane oh wait, I read this already. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's still some issues with their intelligence. I don't know, man. It seems to be at least on par with yours. Their intelligence? There are issues when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you. Miriam turns to the construct and begins gesturing towards it. Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Steelwind Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out on this table. Compliance. What? The construct stands up and retrieves Miriam's textbooks from one of the shelves in the room. It brings them to the table you're sitting at, just like she ordered. But then it suddenly stops moving. Wait, what happened? The construct obviously can't cast Steelwind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something? It ignored your third command too. Correct. My third command was possible to carry out. So why did it ignore that command? Constructs execute a series of commands in the order they were given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. So it's like a series of lights in series. So when one light blows, the rest can't work either, okay. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. So if its task in a series of commands is impossible, then the command will interrupt the sequence of commands. I hope I read that right, because I'm not going to read that again. Exactly. Arcane okay, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now if we want to make our next engagement. Oh, right. Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already? It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, sure. I hope to see you around. Not really. And make your way back to the foyer with Celeste. With all the time you spent, you only have a brief amount of time before night falls. Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? We were getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she would see through our ruse. Right. So, why Steelwind? I don't know, I panicked. Arya's like the only noble I know. What about Pierce? I'm not using that creep's name. Fair enough. Well, hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name. And we got her statement on what she saw that day. And there's also what she said about her rapier. I bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She was probably trying to establish an alibi. I'm not sure. Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about the rapier being stolen, it would imply she planned all of this in advance, and she's a dumbass. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her name on it? I'd understand if the murder was spur of the moment, and she just used something nearby. But if this was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam, that rapier would be the last weapon she would use. Right, I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. Doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. You mean all the stuff about working with the crowned prince? She was probably just making things up to look good in front of me. I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under normal circumstances, I can usually tell when someone's lying. And a lie as grandiose as that would be something I would definitely see through. People can subconsciously shield themselves from the eye of Horus heresy, even if they don't know about it. But when they do that, you can't see any of their thoughts. You also saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. You would have seen dissonant thoughts if she was lying about her grades. Well, I guess I'll trust your insight. What does this mean? I don't know. Even with everything we found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should still try to pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, I might be able to find something I can use. But that's a big maybe. If you don't play your cards right, you might spook the freakers enough for them to pay off the judge. Either way, it's getting late. You'll probably have to turn in soon. Yeah. You'll just have to hope you did enough to acquit Wallace. Court is now resumed for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. It has reviewed the proceedings from yesterday. It was revealed that the trace of necromancy may have not been left by the defendant. It may have been left by a witness who used necromancy to attempt to heal the victim. However, the victim was seen by witnesses well after her time of death. This could only be explained by the defendant using necromancy to animate the victim's body. This leaves the question, where did the murder take place? Does the prosecution have an answer for this? Based on the several witness testimony... Based on... I can believe she has a betrothed. I can believe it. Based on several witness testimonies, it is most likely that the murder took place in the library. Interesting. What led you to this conclusion, Miss Steelwind? First, I'd like to remind the court where the victim was sighted before the body was found. It began when the victim had a meeting with the headmaster near the center of the building. Wait a minute. This is different. I never heard this music before. I like it. Great job, composer. Our meeting was scheduled for 12 p.m. According to my schedule for the day, our meeting lasted for an hour. This brings us to the statement of the next witness, a student at the academy. This student saw the victim walking in the hallway. I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She was heading towards the library. Which means that our first witness saw Bellwether leaving the headmaster's office. Presumably, this would have happened after her meeting there. Which would mean this encounter happened at around 1. The other event is the discovery of the body, which was when Valentina Ianus contacted security. I suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in the classroom. Valentina used the communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. As we've already established, this event occurred at 3:04. But the significance of this time is in what occurred before the body was discovered. The second witness, a member of the cleaning staff, spotted the victim in the West Wing hallway. Bellwether knocked over a vase, and there was shards and dirt everywhere. It was probably 20 to 30 minutes before the twins found the body. This means that the encounter must have happened no later than 2:30 p.m. And this implies that the victim was near the library between 1 and 2:30 p.m. According to the defendant's statement, he was in the library during this time period. Furthermore, the time of death was at 2:07. This means the second witness must have seen the victim's animated body. I see your deduction certainly tracks, Miss Steelwind. What do you have to say in your defense, Mr. Cuthbert? The prosecution's argument is definitely well thought out, Your Honor. However, it is entirely predicted on the testimonies of all the witnesses involved. Steelwind's deductions has to have a hole somewhere, and since your conversation yesterday, you have a feeling that Miriam is hiding something. If you want to get the truth, you need to drag that out of her through a cross-examination. Your Honor, to test the validity of these claims, the defendant would like both of these witnesses to testify. The defense calls Miriam Frege to the stand. Frege? At the mention of her name, the judge's face turns a bit pale. I had a feeling it would come to this. Do you have any objections, Miss Steelwind? I do not, Your Honor. But very well. You look like you're objecting. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frega to the stand. She does not look happy. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the... You little snakes. How dare you deceive me? Oh. It looks like she found out. I had the opportunity to debrief the witness beforehand. Miss McCoy, for the record, I told you to exercise discretion. Desertion. I did not mean that you should impersonate a member of my family. Yeah, sorry about that. I gave you all of the tea I imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. I demand you return it to me. No, you gave them to me. They're legally mine now. Are you really doing this now? Ahem. I'm not sure what your business is with the witness, Miss McCoy. But I'd like to ask you handle your personal disputes outside of the courtroom. Anyways, Miriam, could you please testify to the court about your encounter with the victim? Very well. I was working on a research project in my dorm room when I decided to take a break. Yeah, the cross-examination music is different. Is it because she's a Frega? I left my room and went on a walk. That's when I saw Professor Bellwether exiting the headmaster's office. She was walking in my direction, so I greeted her and she responded in kind. After that, she headed towards the library. A short time after that, I went back to my room and continued my work. I see, so it was only a brief encounter. However brief it is, the witness's testimony verifies two things. One is that Miss Frega saw the professor exiting the headmaster's office. The other is that she witnessed the victim head towards the library. This gives us a rough timeline of where the victim was before her death. Honestly, the one she came up with is better than the timeline for Five Nights at Freddy's, and much better than the Zelda timeline. But I digress. That does seem consistent. Did Bellwether really enter the library that day? You feel like you would have seen her there if she did. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Was this research project a part of your schoolwork? It was an independent study to develop a new conjuration spell formula. The project is being sponsored by the Crown Prince himself. I wasn't aware that he was involved in such a study. Of course you wouldn't. Did you expect to know every aspect of his life, dear Arya? You sense a bit of aggression. If you don't keep an eye on him, House Frega might just steal him away from you. As if His Highness would align himself with your rapacious family. Our banking houses form in... banking houses form there it is. Our banking houses form the economic infrastructure of our kingdom. But perhaps he'll come to the Steel Winds if he needs to clear a den of goblins. With all due respect, maybe please focus on the matter at hand. Of course, Your Honor. And you're sure you saw her exit the headmaster's office? Yes, I remember it very clearly. I was surprised she was still meeting with the headmaster at all. She must be talking about how they were plotting to replace him. Did you interact with the professor at all, Miriam? Did something seem off about her? No, but it was a very short encounter. It's not as if we stopped to have a conversation. You said that you greeted her and she responded. What words did she use? Well, why is that important? Miss Frege, it's possible someone used illusion magic that day. Every detail about the victim's interactions could be important. Well, I bid her good morning, and she said good morning in response. Stop slamming the table! Why are you slamming the table? You're just asking a question! Okay. Did you see her enter the library? I didn't, but there's not much else in that direction. From the testimony of Jan Hughes, we know that she later came from the library. Even if she didn't enter the library, she was still in that area for more than an hour. Something tells me it's a library thing. How long did you leave your dorm room? Only for a few minutes. I try not to let my breaks go on for too long. And you didn't see the professor again after your first encounter? No, I did not. Her testimony seems pretty straightforward. But she could be lying. I'm honestly not sure. We'll just have to focus on her statements about how Bellwether acted. Oh! Objection! Miss Frege, if I recall correctly, you have a habit of getting absorbed in your work. So much so, you'll even lose track of the time of day. Yes, but what does that have to do with my testimony? Earlier in today's proceedings, the prosecutor made the following arguments. Our first witness saw Bellwether leave the meeting with the headmaster, which would time this encounter around 1. Miss Frege, if you said good morning to the professor, you would have been mistaken. Because that encounter could only happen during the afternoon. And your point is? You said it yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. The witness simply lost track of time. What if the witness said isn't what's important here? The significance is what the professor said in response. She had just come out of a meeting room that was scheduled for noon. She would have been well aware that it was no longer morning. So why would she respond good morning? Wouldn't she have corrected the witness? Their encounter was extremely short, and the victim's mind may have been preoccupied. She could have easily responded to the witness without thinking. I'm going to be honest, I kind of agree with her. Yeah, we all do something like that. We're only human after all. We're only human. We all make mistakes. it's not hard to believe that they were both confused at the same time. You know, in the great words of Master Chief, it's something to do with, you know, we all fail. We all make mistakes. We're only human. It's definitely a stretch. But you still can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. Every time you ask her about how Bellwether acted that day, the eye picks something up. There has to be something there. Miss Frege, you haven't been entirely truthful in your statement, have you? That's absurd. What reason would I have to lie? It's such a small detail. Why does he even care? Stop slamming the table! Come on! Every detail about how she acted is important, Miss Frege. Why aren't you telling us? Mr. Cuthbert, you have no basis to accuse the witness of perjury. Yes, you will stop this at once. Miss Frege, you're lying about how Bellwether responded to your greeting, aren't you? It doesn't make a difference. All she did was yell at me. All she did was yell? Miss Frege, is it possible that Bellwether's response was less than friendly? Why do you care? What difference does it make? Why is he being so persistent? My job is to make sure every part of your testimony is truthful. Every detail matters, no matter how seemingly insignificant. Mr. Cuthbert, you will stop this at once, or I will find you in contempt. Ha! He's scared. The professor yelled at you, didn't she, Miss Frege? So what if she did? I mean... I'm sorry, but there's no going back on what you just said. Stop doing that, please. It's getting old. So you do admit she yelled at you? You impertinent little... Yes, I admit it. She didn't greet me back that day. Oh, good morning, Professor. Be quiet. Damn. She yelled at me to be quiet. But until then, we had always been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what happened, what got into her that day. Probably your rapier. But something got her in a foul mood. But that's it. Everything else I said was the truth. They'll believe me, right? I did see her coming out of the headmaster's office and walk towards the library. True. So she wasn't lying about that. So, is that all, Mr. Cuthbert? What do you mean, is that all? Man, that is a strong table. You don't see Arya doing that kind of stuff. You badgered this witness, so you could prove what exactly? The witness committed perjury. The witness changed a small detail of her testimony. A detail that is so inconsequential to the case. It was clearly an act with no malicious intent. Yeah, she got you this time. Sorry, bro. After seeing her thoughts, it's hard to disagree with that. I was so sure the eye would lead you somewhere, but Frege was only lying to save face. The witness saw the victim leave the headmaster's office and head towards the library. Do you have any concrete evidence to refute that, Mr. Cuthbert? No, I suppose I don't. But wait, is that really okay? At this rate, this will be the only chance you have to cross-examine her. I don't think she's lying anymore. Then I was really pushing my luck earlier. If I continue pressing her, the judge might actually charge me with contempt. But if Miriam isn't the one lying, then the defense has no further questions for the witness, Miss Steelwind. The prosecutor stays quiet for a while. She almost looks disappointed. She was secretly enjoying this. Very well, Miriam. You're dismissed. Humph. Miriam still looks like she's fuming, but she leaves the room without protest. The judge breathes a sigh of relief. Oh man. The judge breathes a sigh of relief as the young noble is escorted out of the room. Okay. I mean, she does do the cane thing, but it's not as often. It's not like every 12 seconds. Now with that out of the way, what else do you have, Mr. Cuthbert? The only way to refute the prosecutor's theory is to cast doubt on one of the witnesses' testimonies. If it wasn't Miriam, then... Steelwind, to test your theory, you must question every witness that saw the victim that day. So with that said, the victim would like to call Jan Hughes to the stand. I hope you understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Your entire case rests on the assumption that one of the witnesses' accounts is incorrect. If your cross-examination of Mr. Hughes leads nowhere, then I hope you're ready to concede. You don't like the sound of it, but she's right. Unless you can find something in Jan's testimony, you won't really have anything to disprove her theory. Bayleaf, please bring in Mr. Hughes. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the courtroom. Witness, name and occupation. Right. My name is Jan Hughes. I'm on the cleaning staff for the Academy. Mr. Hughes, please testify to the court about your encounter with the professor that day. Sure. I saw the professor when I was cleaning the West Wing hallways. It was about 20 to 30 minutes before the body was discovered. She walked by me, but she looked pretty out of it. I heard she was undead when this happened. Pretty creepy if you ask me. After that, she went into the empty classroom. Well, that was straightforward. Come on, Jan. What are we supposed to do with that? I don't know. You guys are the lawyers. I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. How are you so sure it was 30 minutes before? I always check the time to make sure I'm on schedule. I was supposed to finish cleaning the halls by 3. Right, the body was discovered at 3:04. What was the professor like, Mr. Hughes? Did anything else look off about her? I mean, yeah, she was an undead after all. That remains to be proven. If you say so. Anyways, what was her demeanor like? She looked like she was in a real bad mood. Either that, or she was tired. But I guess she was just dead inside. Literally. I believe you've forgotten a few details about what the professor said. Yeah? Sorry. It's hard to remember these things sometimes. Which detail should you ask him for? Did she touch anything? Oh yeah. She knocked over a vase and shattered it. It might have been an accident, but she's done stuff like that on purpose before. The detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony, Mr. Hughes. Whatever you say, man. Yeah? I forgot what was said. I believe you've forgotten a few details about what the professor did. Yeah? Sorry, okay. Did you hear her make any sounds? Oh yeah. After she knocked over the vase, she yelled at me to be quiet. But I didn't even say anything. Okay, yes. Did she interact with you at all? Oh, yeah. I didn't notice at first, but I accidentally got in her way. She shoved me to the side and kept walking forward. Yeah, okay. Did you see anyone else enter the classroom? I'm honestly not sure. I wasn't paying too much attention to her. I did think it was weird she went in there. With the funky smell, I can't think of why anyone would go in there willingly. Right, the headmaster's mistake put a rancid smell in that room. He's not giving us a lot to work with. He tends to leave out details unless we directly ask him about it. I just need to ask the right questions. Maybe we can pull more information out of him.
Objection!
Mr. Hughes, you said that Bellwether yelled at you? What were her exact words? I think she yelled at me to be quiet. What? Haha, you look like you realized something. I thought it was weird. I didn't even say anything. But I know better than to talk back to her. That's the thing, Hughes. The prosecution's theory is as such. The professor was murdered in the library and was reanimated using animate corpse. With a quick illusion spell, no one would notice she was undead. However, if what you saw was truly the undead Bellwether, how did she speak to you? Huh? This doesn't make any sense. Mr. Hughes, undead can simply follow simple orders, but they don't have the intelligence to speak. Perhaps the witness was mistaken. No, I'm sure I heard her yell at me. I remembered because what she said didn't make any sense. Exactly. He didn't say anything, but she still yelled at him to be quiet. Wait a minute. I'm afraid I don't understand. We've already established that the victim was dead long before her encounter with Mr. Hughes. But if what he saw wasn't an undead, what was it? It had to be an undead. What other explanation is there? It couldn't have been a major illusion. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to shove Jan out of the way or knock over the vase. Whatever it was, someone probably used illusory disguise to make it look like Bellwether. Does that mean it was a person? No. If it was a person, how did Bellwether's body end up in the lecture hall? Bellwether wouldn't have been able to turn himself invisible if she was dead. And whatever Jan saw, it needs to be something that could have been transported Bellwether's body unseen. It would also need to have a mass and the ability to speak. the very least, it needs to be something that can recreate Bellwether's voice. What could have done that? Ooh! That's it! Hey, you look pretty shocked. Do you have an answer for us, Mr. Cuthbert? What did the witness actually see? Your Honor, the witness didn't actually hear the dead victim speaking. What he actually heard was her voice being recreated using magic. Are you trying to say that her voice was recreated using a spell? Not a spell, Steelwind. Artificery. And whoever the murderer is, they had the perfect piece of artificery available to them. One programmed with Catherine Bellwether's voice. He can't possibly mean... That's right, Steelwind. What Mr. Hughes saw was an arcane construct. Violins continue. Oh, and the saxophone. An arcane construct. Think of it as a magically animated suit of armor, Your Honor. But we ruled out such a possibility, hadn't we? Construct or not, no one could disguise themselves and carry the body to the classroom. Person wouldn't have been able to. But arcane constructs are a totally different thing. That saxophone is amazing! Those suits of armor are extremely large, but are more importantly, hollow. Like my soul. That means that theoretically, someone could have placed the victim's body inside of it. The arcane construct wouldn't just transport the body. With an illusory disguise, it would also confuse and mislead anyone who saw it.
Objection!
I commend your deduction, Mr. Cuthbert. I would have never considered that possibility. Why? Why would no one consider it? Whatever. It's certainly plausible, but what does this prove exactly? That you're dumb. It proves that the body wasn't animated using necromancy. My client is not the murderer. The defendant is still capable of performing all the acts you described. His compendium contains illusory disguise after all. There were several students in the library that day. Any of them could have committed the murder. One might come to that conclusion if they didn't have one crucial piece of evidence. I'd like to present a new piece of evidence to the court. From under the table, you see Miss Steelwind pull out the bloody rapier. Blood. Is that... Yes, Your Honor. This is the murder weapon. She was saving that for the perfect moment, wasn't she? This rapier was reported stolen by Miriam Frege weeks before the murder. And during the investigation, it was finally found. In the defendant's locker. Wait. He was clearly trying to use one of her possessions in a paltry attempt to frame her. Why, he even stole her locker's nameplate and placed it over his. Damn it, that's not what happened. But honestly, it sounds more plausible than what really took place. We're basically back to square one, aren't we? Anyone could have told that construct to do all those things. Wait, anyone? Is that really true? The construct transported the professor's body, and someone used an illusion to make it look like her. They even used a pre-recorded voice to make the illusion more convincing. Could anyone have done that? Several memories flood back to you. You said that Bellwether yelled at you? What were her exact words? I think she yelled at me to be quiet. She yelled at me to be quiet! But until then, we always have been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something put her in a foul mood. A rapier. But, yeah. Oh, right. Be quiet! Sorry. Be quiet! Eris begins giggling. She seems amused by what's happening. The construct's voice is just a series of pre-recorded messages. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it uses the voice of Professor Bellwether. Unfortunately, you can't make them say anything other than what's recorded. Only the headmaster can change those settings. No, she did not make that face early on. She did not. She's... No, it can't be him. What is it, Tyrion? Did you figure something out? I did. But is he seriously the one behind all of this? Miss Steelwind, earlier you said that my client could have orchestrated the entire ruse. But that's simply not true. How so? Anyone could have ordered the construct to carry out the victim's body. Yeah, but not everyone can change what the constructs are able to say. Only one individual has the credentials for that. Theodore Redmond, headmaster of the Imperial Academy. Wait, you're not serious, are you? You think the headmaster did all this? I don't want to believe it. But he's the only person who could have done this. That's completely ridiculous. Headmaster Redmond would never do something like this. Miss Steelwind, there's one common element between all the witnesses' encounter with Bellwether. It's what Bellwether said to them. She yelled at both of them to be quiet. Miriam Frege was particularly surprised. She had a good relationship with the professor. But when greeted by the professor, Bellwether just shouted at her, almost as if the professor was responding indiscriminately. And recall her encounter with Jan Hughes. The professor knocked over a vase and shouted at him to be quiet immediately after that. Even though he didn't say anything. She was responding to the sound of the vase breaking. Now let me ask you this, Steelwind. Where did Bellwether come from before she encountered Miss Frege and Mr. Hughes? Her meeting with the headmaster. It appears that the defense truly means to indict Theodore Redmond. If so, we have no choice but to take a brief recess until he can be brought here. Oh boy, there's no need. Fortunately for you, I'm already in the gallery. The headmaster stood up from the gallery seats behind you and slowly walked onto the witness stand. Has he been here the entire time? Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cuthbert. But do you think I am the one who committed this crime? I'm sorry, Redmond, but no matter how I look at it, everything I found points to you. No, there's no need to apologize. In fact, I should commend you on the lengths that you're going to that you're going to defend dear Wallace. The court appreciates your understanding, Mr. Redmond. He's angry. Now then, to clear the air, I suppose I should give my testimony on what happened that day. That day, I had a meeting scheduled with the professor at noon. She showed up at the expected time, and we discussed various administrative matters. Our meeting went on for an hour, after which she left to prepare for her next class. Despite our many disagreements, we still knew how to be civil with one another. After all, I have no reason to bear a personal grudge against her. I just can't see it. He seems like a nice person. Is he really the person we're looking for? He has to be. No one else could have orchestrated this entire plot, Ares. You just need to find out how and why. What was this meeting for? Oh, nothing of note. We were merely discussing her daily operations and duties within the academy. In an academy like ours, it helps to frequently check in with the staff. So she showed up at exactly 12? More or less. Catherine Bellwether was many things, but she was never tardy. There aren't any witnesses who saw her before the meeting, so you don't have a way to disprove what he's saying. It'd be best to look elsewhere in his testimony. How long did this meeting last, Headmaster? So that means the professor left your office at 1. Yes, she was quite adamant about taking time to prepare her lesson plans. Now then, now that you think about it, Frigga had no idea what the time was when she saw Bellwether. If the headmaster is lying about when the meeting ended, there'd be no way to verify it. Which would account for the hour gap that Steelwind mentioned. Damn it, did the headmaster really do this? After hearing so much about her, I find it a little hard to believe. I can see why you say that. But despite everything, I was still her superior. She always remained professional when speaking with me. Is that really true, though? Really? Even after the way she acted towards the students and faculty? Make no mistake, I've heard many complaints regarding her actions, and I've had many conversations with her trying to correct her behavior. But at the end of the day, she was a remarkable professor, regardless of her lack of people skills. His testimony pretty much matches what we know so far. I'm not entirely sure if he's lying or not, but at the very least, we know that he was involved in the professor's murder. But why? If you can figure out his motive, you might be able to find out how to reveal him to the courts.
Objection!
Oh, okay, what was that? Redmond, did you really hold no animosity toward Professor Bellwether? Of course not. I did have strong opinions about her methods of teaching, but I've always remained professional. We both did. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. In fact, I think you might have had a very good reason to murder the professor, considering she was going to take your job. What? So you knew about that? Heh, gotcha. Unfortunately, you're a good person, but I'm sorry. But I don't follow. Just how was the professor going to take the headmaster's job? According to Miriam Frege, Catherine Bellwether was currying favor with the noble families. In fact, there was a plan to oust Mr. Redmond and appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster. What? But in any case, I doubt the headmaster had any idea of this until now. I'd like to remind the court of the witness's reaction just now. He said, "So you knew about that?" His reaction was one of surprise. But he wasn't surprised by this information. He was surprised that I knew this information. That's... Please, dear Arya. I may be a frail old man, but I'm perfectly capable of defending myself. He looks like he's gonna gut me any second. If you have an explanation, Mr. Redmond, then by all means, I'd love to hear it. Gladly. Please don't kill me. It's true that I knew about the Frege's plot beforehand, but I had only just learned about it. On the day of the murder, the professor told me about her plan. She was going to replace me as headmaster and replace the staff with her constructs. Now, you might say this would have given me the perfect motive to murder the professor. It really does sound like that, you know. However, the supposed murder weapon was stolen from Miss Frege. This happened weeks before the murder and my discovery of the professor's treachery. I had no idea of their plan before she told me, and therefore I wouldn't have known to steal Miss Frege's weapon in attempt to frame her. Are you satisfied now, Mr. Cuthbert? There is no way the headmaster could have come up with this plan. If he really did do this, that means he stole the rapier too, right? Most likely. His alibi makes sense. He couldn't have planned this whole thing unless he knew about Bellwether's plan. That would mean he knew about this weeks ago. But how did he find out? The best way to tell a convincing lie is to leave a lot of truths and only change one detail. Maybe Bellwether did tell him, but she actually told him weeks ago. But how do you prove that? Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. So you only learned about it recently? Doesn't that seem a bit too convenient for you? It may appear that way, yes, but that must have infuriated you. Your colleague betrayed you and attempted to steal your job. I'm only human, after all. Of course I was taken aback. I've been headmaster of the Imperial Academy for decades. To think that the professor and the board will go around my back like that. With the professor dead, you won't have to worry about losing your job. At least not for a while. I suppose you're correct, but there are others who would benefit too. The faculty staff is now aware of the Frege's plot. With her plot delayed, they won't need to worry about abruptly losing their jobs either. Well, what happens if you prove that Redmond is the killer? He'll lose his job and House Frege will appoint someone else. No, you can't think about that now. If you don't prove Redmond's guilt, the court will convict Wallace. As the headmaster, you'd probably have the tools available to get to her room. Yes, I will admit that. The academy has a master key that can be used to enter each of the students' dorms. And yes, as headmaster, I have access to the key. Then you have the perfect way to get into her room and steal the rapier undetected. I suppose I did. However, there's only one flaw in your logic. It was my understanding that the Fregas wanted to keep the secret until the very end. Why would Bellwether of all people tell you about her betrayal? I imagine she wanted to taunt me with that information. We've long had our disagreements, and looking back, she may have resented me for that. And at one point, there wasn't anything I could do to stop her. Really, I thought you and the professor were on good terms. I thought so too, but I suppose it was all a facade. She was just biding her time until she could take my position as headmaster. He had to have known about Bellwether's betrayal weeks ago. Right, but how do we prove it? Do we have something that proves he knew about it before the day of the murder?
Objection!
Finally. Yeah, I was stuck on this for like 5 minutes. Redmond, you keep saying that you didn't know about Bellwether's plot before yesterday. Do you still plan on standing behind that claim? Of course I am, but because it's the truth. I'm sorry, Redmond, but you should really close your doors during your meetings. What? Dang, that's... It is true that Bellwether revealed her plan to you during one of your meetings. In fact, Jan Hughes happened to overhear that same meeting. But he only overheard the parts where the staff would be replaced. Dang, that's a bit savage. Even for you. Wait a minute. Whenever he blinks, the face, like, moves a bit as well. I think it's a bit of a glitch. And that's the strangest part, Redmond. According to Mr. Hughes, this meeting occurred weeks ago. You can't accuse the headmaster of perjury based on a rumor. Everything you just said is based on second-hand information. Mr. Hughes distinctly overheard that the staff would be replaced with arcane constructs. This is too specific and too accurate to assume that he misheard a different conversation. The professor probably only revealed her plan for the arcane constructs. This still doesn't prove that he knew about her treachery beforehand. Professor Bellwether had no authority over the cleaning staff's employment. It would make sense for her to just reveal her plan for the arcane constructs. That would only make sense with the context that Bellwether would be taking his job. So tell me one thing, Redmond. Why did you need to lie about this? Is it because you saw a need to protect yourself from my accusations? Redmond, I asked you a question. Did you murder Catherine Bellwether? Ooh. This pic goes hard. Feel free to screenshot. What a fine mess this is. Mata. Headmaster? Even she's surprised. So you truly plan on pushing this, aren't you? Well, your thesis sounded promising, Mr. Cuthbert. Yeah, this is honestly a bit scary, but I believe your arguments could use a little work. Let's start the beef. You think I killed Catherine Bellwether? Me? Wait, hold on, I just need to save. I cannot save. They thought of... I can't save. They thought of everything. I'm an elderly man in his late 80s. I was alone and had nothing to overpower Bellwether with. I can barely walk, much less wield a rapier. Whoa! Oh my god. But you and Bellwether weren't the only people in the room, were you? You needed the arcane construct to carry Bellwether's body. That means the construct would have already been in your office. And with your privileges... Whoa! The electric guitar, man. Okay. With your privileges, you could have easily programmed the construct to stab Bellwether for you. Even so, think about what would have transpired anyway. Recall, Miss Steelwind's timeline is based off Bellwether's witnesses. Yeah, with your theory, the construct would have spent more than an hour in the library. Having it there would have risked my so-called ruse from being discovered. Luckily, she can't tell life from... Okay, yeah. She is a dumbass. I'll give you that. I wouldn't have the construct linger around the library. Okay. I forgot what she said, but yeah. I forgot what he said, Redmond, what you're saying clearly doesn't match with what you're thinking. What kind of weak assertion is that? How could possibly know what I'm thinking? Oh, you need to choose your words more carefully. No one knows about the Eye of Horus heresy. The timing deduced from Miss Frega's testimony is predicted on one thing. She saw Miss Bellwether exit your office after your meeting. However, if assumed that you're lying about this meeting and about when this meeting ended, your entire argument falls apart. Miss Frega would have encountered Bellwether after her death at 2:01. Miss Frega wouldn't have made a mistake like that. Miss Frega thought it was morning when she saw Bellwether. She can't reliably tell the time. She's dumb. Then what about where the rapier was placed? Yeah, I don't know, man. If I really was the murderer, then that would mean I planted the weapon in young Wallace's locker. But there. Several of the students have lockers that I have access to. I wouldn't have placed incriminating evidence in that locker. Wallace is one of my prized students. If I had to frame anyone, he would be the last person I choose. Yeah, unfortunately. You're right, Mr. Redmond. You wouldn't try to frame Wallace, but you would try to frame Miriam Frega. It would be the perfect act of revenge, wouldn't it? You murder your treacherous co-worker and frame the daughter of the family that helped her. But something went wrong, didn't it, Redmond? The labels on Miriam's locker and Wallace's were switched. Anyone who saw that would have easily mixed them up. I am the headmaster of the Imperial Academy. I have records of all the students' lockers and where they're located. If I truly planned this, I would have known where Wallace's locker was. A simple change in labels wouldn't have led me to make a careless mistake like that. But it wasn't you, was it? Your arcane construct was the one who planted the rapier in the locker. Come on, please, I can do this. I bet you commanded it to place this rapier in the locker of Miriam Frege. But it saw the ID on Wallace's locker and assumed it was Miriam's. He begins desperately stammering like me because I am also 1 BP, looking for something to say. Miss Steelwind, say something. What? Mr. Cuthbert, your theory may be plausible, but there's no evidence to support it. Ha! That's right, you don't have any proof, do you? What's with that pose? There's no evidence of my orders. Saying that I could have committed the murder isn't the same as proving it. Yeah, whatever. Your arcane construct is still in the locker room where it planted the rapier. I am 90% sure I selected that before, okay? All we have to do is take a look inside and we'll see the blood inside. Is that so, Mr. Cuthbert? What? Why does he still look so confident? No, Mr. Cuthbert, I already checked the inside of the construct during my investigation. The interior was completely clean. What? The construct's primary function is to clean and assist, dear Tyrion. They have a function that allows them to clean themselves, inside and out. Well, we can still look at its command history, right? Think about it, Mr. Cuthbert. Do you honestly think the murderer would leave behind evidence like that? I'm sure whoever orchestrated this plot, they ordered the construct to wipe its logs when it was finished. Oh boy. That's right, Mr. Cuthbert. Oh boy. Your case against me is theoretical at best. But I suppose I can give you marks for trying. Damn it, he thought of everything. Was he seriously able to get rid of all the evidence? Just running out of options. But you still have one tool left. Ha! It's unbecoming to glare like that, young Tyrion. He's doing it again. Bring yourself back to that moment with Garrick Pierce. Think about what's at stake for Wallace, just like you did with Celeste. His life and his future are in your hands.
Naught can remain concealed.
Damn. You activated the empowered eye again. Redmond did a good job of covering his tracks, but there has to be something he forgot to get rid of. Okay. Why was the construct in the locker room though? It should have been there if it had followed my orders. No matter, it wiped its logs. They have nothing on me. So he did order it to wipe its logs. In order to cover all of its tracks, it probably would have done this last. The construct's orders were clear. Plant the body in Lecture Hall 2B, and then plant the evidence in Frege's locker. It was supposed to head to the storage room afterward. What happened? Interesting. The construct wasn't supposed to be in the locker room? Wait, he ordered the construct to go into the storage room. It would have done that after it was finished planting the evidence in the locker room. But we found it in the locker room. What stopped? Ah, yeah, this thing. Oh wait, no. Right. The body was probably reported earlier than Redmond expected. This meant he probably started lockdown before the construct was finished in the locker room. But does this change anything? Right. The series of commands would have been interrupted. Wait a minute. Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they are given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets it, blah 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 whatever. Yeah. I've seen this all before. Yeah. The construct's final command was to wipe its memory. But if its orders were interrupted by the lockdown, then... Miss Steelwind, I have nothing more to ask this witness. What? Yeah, she's shocked. You're not giving up, are you? Do you even have to ask? Yeah, I thought so. But how are you going to prove he did it if he's not testifying? Don't worry, the next witness's testimony will be all I need. Next witness? That look on your face isn't one of defeat. Just what are you planning? Ha! It's nothing but desperate bravado. Now, if you excuse me. You've let your quarry get away, Mr. Cuthbert. I hope you know what you're doing. I do, Miss Steelwind. First, I'd like for the Inquisition to bring in the arcane construct in the Academy's locker room. We've already established that the murderer could have wiped its history. Please, let's just do it. Very well. Bayleaf, please relay Mr. Cuthbert's request to Commander White. Well, here's your construct. I hope you know what you're doing. Construct! What are your orders? Please recite your command history. Reporting. Command 1. Stand by in Headmaster's office. Command 2. Await vocal signal. Attack from Theodore Redmond. You hear Redmond stand up from the gallery. Seeing this, the prosecutor watches him and carefully clutches the handle of her cane. Why does she have a cane? Command 3. Treat Catherine Bellwether as a hostile entity and neutralize. Damn. Construct. Wipe your... Oh, what the hell is that? Before he can finish his sentence, the prosecutor points her cane at the headmaster. And magical energy shoots from it and collides directly with him. The magic wreaths around his body and stops him from moving. He is clearly trying to struggle against it, but it looks like he can't even move his mouth. Miss Steelwind? Excuse the interruption. Please continue. Based. Command 4. Await vocal signal leave from Theodore Redmond. Command 5. Move to classroom 2B. Reply to any inquiries with voice line number 3. Remove Catherine Bellwether from interior frame and place on floor. Thank you, Construct. You can stop now. I think we all know the rest. But just to be clear, who gave you this series of commands? Commands were provided by Headmaster. Yay! We did it! We sent an old man who cares about the poor people to prison! How? How? I ordered the construct to wipe its command history. Mr. Redmond, constructs don't follow the same logic that humans do. They're prone to error when their commands are impossible to execute. Impossible? In what way were my commands impossible? You were the one that made it impossible. You activated the lockdown system. The lockdown? The body was found earlier than you'd like. You had no choice but to immediately activate the lockdown system when it was reported. However, the construct was still in the locker room when you did this. So that's why it was still there. The construct finished its tasks in the locker room, but then it tried to follow your next command. It tried to move to the storage room, but it was prevented from doing so. Completion of that command was incomplete, so the series of commands was stopped before it wiped its history. You little what, huh? Say it! Theodore Redmond, you ordered your construct to murder Catherine Bellwether. Then you had it place the murder weapon in a locker to frame Freyga. And we have your construct's testimony to prove it. And that's checkmate. I can't believe it. How could you do something like this, Headmaster? She was going to take everything from me. My position, academy, students. Whew. Everything would be gone. It would be stolen by her and the Freygas. Is she crying? Okay, no, that's just sweat. Why didn't you say anything to me? I could have. Don't you dare stand there and act ignorant, Lady Steelwind. Do you think the Freygas acted alone? Your father was a part of this plot too. What? I have nothing to say to you. I thought you were different. I listened to your lies about societal reform. In the end, you're just like the rest of them. By the Scaled Lord, what have I done? I was even willing to sacrifice poor Wallace. I can't believe Why did I do this? It's either Intel or Eris, and I'm going with Eris there. It appears we have a full confession. Eris, you sussy baka, I'm coming after you next. The court sees no reason to prolong this any further. Bailiff, please escort the witness to a holding cell. Mr. Cuthbert, you really did it. Well, if it ain't the hissy sissy. How are you doing? It feels amazing, right? Like a big weight. Like a big weight being lifted off your shoulders. It does, but yeah. We sent a guy with the purest of intentions to reform society for the better, who has sacrificed so much to carry it out. Yeah, we sent it to prison, and probably the afterlife because of execution. But yeah, I can't believe the headmaster was the one who did it. Right. Despite everything he did, he was the one that allowed Wallace to pursue his dreams. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is bittersweet for you. What am I going to do now? Headmaster Redmond was the only reason I could even attend the academy. With him gone... Come on, don't think like that. You got acquitted. I'm sure it'll all work out. You want to agree, but necromancy is basically taboo. Without Redmond's support, there aren't many places he could learn it legitimately. And then there's the Imperial Academy. Hey, don't you get all sad on me too? Sorry, I was just thinking, with Redmond gone, the Fracas will just appoint another sycophant as the headmaster. Valentina, Valerie, Jan, they're all going to lose their jobs. Come on, you found the truth and you put a murderer behind bars. You saved Wallace. She's right. As you start to exit the courtroom, you are greeted by Miss Tamora. Was she in the gallery this entire time? At the end of the day, you saved Wallace from a wrongful conviction. You should be proud of yourself for that. I suppose you're right. Maybe I am just overthinking things. But the doubt still lingers in your mind. Now come on, I'm taking Wallace to the restaurant we went to last time. Do you remember how much that place cost? Don't worry, I have plenty of gold. Am I the only one in this team not making any money? Why don't you meet us there, Celeste? I need to talk with Tyrion for a moment. Alright. Let's go, Wallace. Okay. Oh. No, she's mine. She's mine. She's mine. No. You activated the empowered eye again, didn't you? She doesn't appear to be praising you. I did. I didn't really have a choice. The Eye of Horus is a powerful tool, Tyrion. But that's twice now you used the empowered eye to get out of a tough spot. You can't keep relying on it if you want to grow as an attorney. One day, you'll find a witness that the empowered eye won't work on. It's worked for me this far, though. Oh man. But I suppose you're right. I'll try to rely on it less next time. And that marked the end of another case in my career as a defense attorney. Another life saved, another murderer brought to justice. I still can't shake this feeling of uneasiness. Was it guilt for what happened in the faculty staff? What happened to the faculty staff? Or was it something else? Probably both. Man, Steelwind has been talking with the perp for hours. What's there to even ask at this point? Turns out she doesn't trust his testimony. Something about his memories not matching up with the crime scene. You don't think he has mage blight, does he? No, it's not that. She found that damn symbol etched into his desk. What did she call it? The purple mark? Oh, for the love of, not this again. Look, if the little lady wants to chase the boogeyman, just let her. At least this time, she's doing it personally, instead of dragging us into it. Cost sleep. Okay, I so knew it. Hey, what's up with... Who did this to your desk? What has gotten into you? I've already admitted to everything. What more could you possibly want from me? Where did this graffiti come from? Oh boy. What is this symbol? What is the purple mark? I don't know. A student must have done it at some point. Think very hard, headmaster. When did you receive this purple symbol? Focus on the moment you received this. Wait a minute. I remember it now. But how? Uh-oh. Lady Steelwind? Lady Steelwind! Arya, what happened? Are you okay? That was close. My elation over meeting him almost made me forget. Ares, What are you doing here? Why? Wait, I remember now. It was you. You put those ideas in my head. You're the one who told me to murder Bellwether. Oh, you humans never fail to amuse me. Oh my gosh. I didn't make you do anything. Everything you did that day, all the planning, preparation, they came from your own mind. And I have to say, I was quite entertained with the scheme you came up with. Oh, you even broke into Miriam's room. This is so goddamn freaky. I didn't know you had it in you, old man. You made me forget about our conversation. But how? Illusions can't affect the mind. Magic can't affect the mind. It's a shame, though. I would have much rather turned Wallace into the antagonist of this chapter. Could you imagine if he turned? It would have been spectacular. Armies of the undead running rampant in the streets. But alas, even I can't corrupt his pure soul. Oh boy. Answer me. Who are you? What are you? Who am I? I'm the Lord of the Sixth Circle. Hey. Oh boy. Okay. Damn. Well, that makes me want to play chapter 3, but I've been on this for like 3 hours, so... You know, for the argument, I went through all of them. So many of them. I don't even know which option was the right one in the end. But yeah, I guess... Man, I mean, I kinda expected Theodore to be the... because he has illusory magic. But also, Ares was a sussy baka, so it appeared that Theodore was the big fish, but Ares was the shark. You know? So, that's nice. I won't be surprised if Ares will be the next chapter. She's freaking scary, I must be honest. Damn. But yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching my playthrough of Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. If you like what you see, stay tuned and stay awesome. Good night.